Good morning, students. Welcome to online class 10 biology. In our previous classes, we have already studied the structure and function of the male and female reproductive system. In this class, we are going to study the process of fertilization, implantation, gestation, and parturition. But before we start studying about fertilization, let us discuss the role of hormones in human beings. Puberty. Attainment of sexual maturity is called puberty, and this is because of certain hormones secreted in the body of young boys and girls. We all know that young boys and girls are not sexually mature at birth, they attain maturity at a certain age. In males, it is round about 11 to 15 years. Let us see what changes take place during this period. First, the first sign of maturity or attainment of puberty is the release of hormone testosterone from the testes which have started enlarging, appearance of beard and mustache, deepening of voice, pectoral girdle grows broader than the pelvic girdle. That means the shoulders broaden, spermatogenesis occurs, and semen is formed. Now let us discuss what are the changes that take place in puberty in females. First, the breast starts developing and enlarges. Broadening of hip occurs, characteristic feature. Deposition of fat in the subcutaneous layer increases. Menstrual cycle begins and ovulation takes place. Now, before we study the process of fertilization, let us see the structure of ovum. Ovum is a highly specialized cell which is much larger than the normal body cells. It is round about 0.1 mm in diameter. It is bounded by a membrane called the oollema or the vitelline membrane. This membrane is covered by two coats, the zona pellucida, which is a thin non-cellular transparent inner coat. You can see the orange layer, that is the zona pellucida, and the inner red one is the oollema. Out on the outer side, the cellular structure that you see, that is the thick cellular outer coat called corona radiata. It also contains a large haploid nucleus. Haploid because it has half the number of chromosomes, called the germinal vesicle or the pronucleus. Fertilization. What is fertilization? It is the fusion of the male and female gametes. When the semen is ejaculated into the vagina, you can see that red portion on the lower side, that is the vagina. The ejaculated sperms are round about 300 million sperms. If this count is less than 50 million, then chances of fertilization taking place is remote. The ejaculated sperms start moving in the upward direction towards the uterus. By the movement of the tail, you can see the cervix and you can see the uterus, and the sperms start moving in this direction. Only a few hundreds will enter the oviduct in which the ova is. The rest of them would be lost in the uterus and the path. After their 48 hours of life, they will die and will be reabsorbed into the system. Even lesser number will reach the ampulla. Round about 200 to 300 will reach the ovum. If the ovum is present, the sperms surround the egg from all sides. You can see in the diagram it is surrounded from all sides by a number of sperms there. If the ova is present, the sperms surround the egg from all sides. Out of them, only one will enter the egg. The rest of them will all die and be reabsorbed. Soon after the first one enters inside, a chemical barrier is created. Hence, no further entrance of sperms will take place. After this, let us see what happens. What is implantation? It is the attachment of the developing embryo with the uterine wall of the mother. Now, after fertilization, the zygote starts moving and developing in the fallopian tube. The zygote is a single cell which divides into two. then 4, 8, 16, 32, and keeps moving in the fallopian tube. On the fourth day after fertilization, the developing embryo reaches the uterus in the form of a solid ball called morula. This further develops into a fluid-filled embryo called the blastocyst. The outer layer of the blastocyst is nutritive and is known as the trophoblast. The trophoblast digests and resorts the endometrium, that means it removes the cells over here of the endometrium and makes a pit, a small little ditch-like structure. In this pit, the embryo settles and the endometrium grows over it. In the second figure, this is very clearly shown. This is called implantation. Implantation is very necessary for getting nutrition and oxygen and giving out the nitrogenous waste and carbon dioxide. Now, what does this? It is the placenta. So, what is placenta? It is the intimate connection between the developing fetus and the uterine wall. The developing embryo, after implantation, produces finger-like processes called villi. These villi get embedded into the grooves of the uterine wall called crypts. A cord called the umbilical cord, containing blood vessels of the fetus, connects the fetus to the uterine wall through the placenta. That means the placenta is a connection between the fetus and the mother. Blood of the fetus and the mother never mix, as there is a membrane between them which acts as a barrier, and exchange of material takes place through it. Let us see the function of the placenta. The placenta has a number of functions to perform. First and most important is nutrition. Diffusion of nutrients from the blood of the mother to the fetus takes place through the placenta. Respiration. Diffusion of oxygen takes place from mother to the placenta and carbon dioxide from the fetus to the mother. Excretion. Metabolic waste produced in the fetus is eliminated through the placenta into the mother's blood, from where it goes to her kidneys, from where it is eliminated. Storage. Placenta helps in the storage of glucose and fats and supplies it when it is required. It also acts as a barrier between the mother and the fetus and allows only useful substances to diffuse to the fetus. It also carries out endocrine functions. It secretes important female hormones, estrogen and progesterone, which are responsible for maintaining the pregnancy. Gestation period. There are two terms I would like to tell you about. One is gestation period and the other is parturition. Gestation period, the duration of the embryonic development in the uterus starting from implantation up to the birth of the child, is called the gestation period. In human beings, it is 280 days or 40 weeks. Parturition, birth of the child after gestation period, is called parturition. It is brought about by the contraction of the uterine wall. Before we move further, let us see the extraembryonic membranes or the fetal membranes. To protect and supply nutrition to the embryo, 4 membranes develop from the trophoblast. These are called the fetal membranes. First of all, amnion. It forms a sac around the embryo and is filled with a liquid called the amniotic fluid. You can see the blue portion, that's the amniotic fluid, and the blue is the lining, that is the amnion. This fluid not only protects the embryo from any type of mechanical injury, but it also gives free movement, slight movement for the embryo to move around in the fluid. It also prevents the embryo from sticking to the walls of the amnion. Chorion. It is responsible for the formation of the placenta. The pink layer that you see around this is the chorion. Allantois. It is responsible for formation of the umbilical cord. The green portion that you see, that is the allantois. Last of all is the yolk sac. The yolk sac in human beings do not contain yolk, but it contains a fluid. Its main function is formation of blood cells up to the 6th week. After that, the liver takes over and slowly, the yolk sac starts reducing in size. Now, according to rule, only one ova is released from one of the two ovaries at one time. That means human beings give rise to only one baby at one time. There is only one gestation at one time. But when two babies are born at one time, they are called twins. It happens sometimes. There are two types of twins: identical twins and fraternal twins. Let us discuss about both of them in detail. Identical twins. They are twins which are produced from one zygote. You can see in the figure there's one zygote that divides into two and then they separate off. This happens after the first cleavage. They are produced when the blastomeres separate after the first cleavage. That means the first division that takes place. They are always of the same sex and look identical because they are formed from the same zygote. They differ in their fingerprints and birthmarks. This is the difference. If they do not separate completely, when they are separating, if they don't separate off completely, they are called conjoined twins or Siamese twins. Fraternal twins or non-identical twins, they are produced from two zygotes. They have different set of genes. That means two ova are released. Very rarely this happens, but sometimes it does, that both the ovaries release an ova at the same time. So there are two zygotes that are formed from two different ovas which are fertilized by two different sperms. They differ from each other in traits, development, and even sex. They may be similar sex, they may be of different sex also. They are like siblings born at one time. With this, we come to an end of this chapter on reproductive system. I hope you have understood everything. Whatever you did not understand, we will discuss in our virtual class. Thank you.